let's take just a second and talk about protocol activation in your app. Let me get a blank app going here, and I like that I have all of my stuff in my app class here. So let me just clean this out so we can look at it together. I'm going to take away the suspension for now because I want to just talk about the simple pieces. I'm even going to take out all of this logic. And what I've done is I've taken the logic and I've put it into another method, just extracted it to another method. And there's no change, right? There's no change in the logic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it here. So now we can look at it and say, my app, oh, it's a method. And so my app, what does it do? Well, when it launches, it creates the frame and it creates the first navigation element that it goes to. Right? That's what you want it to do. Now, launching means it was just launched. But what are other ways to get your app working? You bet there are. And so let's take a look at the manifest here. Inside the manifest we have capabilities. That's where we enable location and the camera. And we also have declarations up here. Now declarations is special because if I drop this down, one of the options is protocol that I can add. And I can say, what protocol do I want to use? My name's Jerry. Let's use Jerry. Right? There's no reason not to. And now what I'm really saying is, so think about other protocols. HTTP is protocol. If I say HTTP : whatever comes next, I'm saying launch a browser. That's what I'm really saying. If I say mail to : whatever comes next, what I'm really saying is launch my mail client. See what I mean? Now I'm saying Jerry : whatever comes next, launch app 17. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty handy. It's a neat way of activating your application. So let's go back. You handle activation right here next to onLaunched. OnLaunched, see, it's an override. And so we're also going to override onActivated. Right, there it is. And so now I've got the exact same, let's see, exact same logic in onActivated and, there you go, and onLaunched. So they both will make sure that it happens, right? So the first time I launch, or the first time I activate, if I haven't launched, it will create it. Otherwise it won't, right? It'll just go to it. Pretty neat. Let me prove to you that it works. I'm going to go to my XAML here, and let me just go find an ellipse just to prove that we're in it, because sometimes if everything is black, it's hard to figure out what we're doing, right? So I'll just add a few. Oops, let me see. I want to add another ellipse and add just one more ellipse, and then maybe just one more, just because. Why not? Because ellipses are awesome, right? A little cloud and then one that's breaking away from his parents. It's so sad. Okay, now let me change this so it runs in the simulator. I'll run it now, and it'll say, you know, if you got some sort of typo down here. What is it? I put an S at the end. Beautiful. All right, here we go again. Boom. Now loads it up. There they are. Now I'm inside the simulator here. I'll say Command R so I can go to the run dialog, and I'll say Jerry : test. Cool? Jerry : test. I'll say go. Boom. Runs my app. Awesome. Two ways to make my app go, right? I can go to my tile, or I can do this. Beautiful. Now, can I use that test that I just passed in? Of course I can. Let's take a look. So, right here in Activated, and I am going to take the args and say var protocol. Here, check this out first. I can say right here, there's an S again. What am I doing with these S's? Man, stray S. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, watch this. If I did if args dot, and then I can say kind equals, and then it says activation kind, and one of them right here is protocol. So here I can handle that a file protocol was used. This is basically saying the reason onActivated was run is because, look at all the other interesting ones that might have happened as well, right? File, which we can talk about later, this app is a file picker. It's launched, right? Search might have caused it. Share might have caused it. And then up at the top is camera settings, other things that we may implement. Those are really obscure ones, right? But nonetheless, the most common here, what we're talking about, are file and protocol, specifically protocol, right? And so now I can take the args because I know it's a protocol, and I can say var args equals args as protocol activation of inargs. Now there are specific type of args that inherit. See, it's just a interface here that inherit that or implement that, and I can use it, and I can say, let me make a quick property string, and it's going to be called arg value. Why not? And I'll say arg value equals args dot, and I can get the URI, because remember that HTTP colon blah, that mail to colon blah, this Jerry colon, those are URIs. And so now here's the URI to string, and now I can parse that out any way I want. So I'm not telling you how to make your URI and how, does it always have to be name value pair? Can you make it look like a REST so it's this/this, whatever. It's up to you. You're the developer. Let me just show you how to use it. All right, so here's arg value, and now that it's set, let me go into my page again. And I'm going to add two quick things. I'm going to add a text block right here. I mistakenly selected text box. Let's see if you guys can deal with that. And then a button that I'm going to put right here. Right. And my text box, now that it's called text box, that's just brilliant. X name my text. And then I'll have a click event on the button. And here's the click event, and it'll basically say my text.text equals app dot, and I can't see them. That's because it's not static. I'm just going to go back and change it to be static, right? That's easy enough. Just right here, static static. Bam, just like that. Now I can say app.arg value, and I get to see whatever the pass in was. So watch this. Oh, you know what? I better do a null check there. So I'll do a double question null, and it'll pass in null if it happens to be null. That way it's not just blank to me. You know what I mean? All right, so now I'll say Control F5. Control 5, that doesn't pass anything in. So when I click on my button, null, right? There were no arguments passed in. But what if I went back now and I said Jerry test, there it is, and I'll say go. And it runs like I would expect. I say button again and Jerry test. Now there are two things I want you to see there. I'm going to do the whole thing again so you can see it because it's a big deal. I'm going to run it here. Text box, right? That's the default value. I say button null. It's set to null because there is none, right? Now I'm going to run it. Test. Now look what the value is now. Null. That's because my app didn't rerun, right? It was activated. See the difference between launched and activated? And now I can click button, boom, and it's Jerry test. See what I mean? And now I can get what was passed in there. I could set up events or whatever it is I want to be able to use the command property or the command arguments that were passed in to me this way. And what's great is this can be called from other apps. It's just a URI. I'm doing it from here, but another app could call and invoke my app this way. Isn't it brilliant? If my app isn't already running, let's do that. Watch this. I'll kill it, and I'll say Jerry test. Now it just ran. See how everything's back to basics of text box? Launched ran, activated ran, I say go, and I still get the URI that was passed in. Now it's up to me to parse it and use it however I want. That's protocol activation. All I had to do was go into my manifest here, right? Go to declarations and create a protocol for me to activate against. See? Isn't that nice? Now, if there were, let's say there were two apps and they both use Jerry, right? Some other schmuck named Jerry. He's created another app that uses my protocol activation. And so Jerry, the user types Jerry colon, or it's called from a web page or something like that. It's launching the app, but it doesn't know what to do because there are two. A nice dialog pops up and says, which one do you want to use? That's why display name is important. That's what's displayed there. That's why logo is important. That's what's displayed there too. Make sense? Protocol activation, another cool way to access your app. It's neat. It's really neat. Be able to pass information into your app. Very, very cool. Best of luck.